There's a feeling that so many of us know in midlife. It's that restless ache, that quiet dissatisfaction, that sense that something about our lives has shifted, not because we failed, but because we're actually evolving. Maybe we look around at everything that we've built and think, well, this should feel like enough, so why doesn't it? I'm Beryl, and this is the Radiant Reset, where we talk about the things that midlife women are thinking but not always saying out loud. I'm 56, but I still see myself as that 8-year-old girl who believed that anything was possible, and I see midlife not as an ending but as a turning point, an invitation to do things differently. Because what we're feeling right now, well, it isn't a crisis. That feeling is our next chapter calling us forward. And today I'm going to share why it's not something to fear, but actually something to trust, lean into, and follow. Because the shift that we're in right now, the one that feels uncomfortable or awkward or uncertain, well, that's not a breakdown, it's actually a breakthrough in disguise. And right now, there's one word that we need to understand, and that is joy. Not joy as a luxury, not joy as a reward, but joy as a nutrient for our souls, something we need to feed our next chapter into life. For decades, most of us were taught that joy is something that we earn after we succeed, after we lose weight, after the kids leave, after the big achievement or the big event. But here's the thing, that model only works when our identity hasn't changed. Midlife changes our identity. We stop asking, what do I have to do? And start asking, what do I want to feel? And that shift, it's not shallow, it's not frivolous, it's not unspiritual, it's foundational. Because when our lives lose their joy, our souls stop thriving. Right now, so many of us are asking ourselves, why doesn't this feel fulfilling anymore? Why does this feel so sort of empty? Is this really my life? And the honest answer is no, not in this current form, not in the way that feeds us anymore. We're not broken, we're outgrowing something that worked for us in the past and doesn't anymore. And that restlessness that we feel, that's not confusion, that's our souls regenerating, asking for nourishment. So let's get clear on this one idea. Joy isn't something that we get after everything else is done. Joy is something that our systems need first. Our bodies, our nervous systems, our emotional intelligence, all of it is listening to what feels alive. If our lives don't feel alive, our souls start to signal in other ways. Restlessness, dissatisfaction, boredom, anxiety, sleep that doesn't truly rest us. These aren't problems to fix. They're signposts pointing us towards what's next. Joy is our compass. It tells us this direction has life. This direction has resonance. This direction actually feels real, not forced, not just okay, but alive. So if we're feeling this yearning right now, good. That means that our souls are ready to thrive again. Now, let me ask something. Is it possible to actually be happy most of the time? Maybe even all of the time? I believe it is, but first we have to understand why we become unhappy in the first place. It's because we've committed to a model of the world that is fundamentally false. I call it the if-then model. We know it well. If I lose 20 pounds, then I'll be happy. Or if I get that promotion, then I'll feel successful. If my kids finally leave home, then I'll have time for myself. If I find the right partner, then I'll feel complete. The problem isn't the goals themselves. The problem is this, that the model is actually broken, because once we achieve that thing, the goalpost shifts once again. So we lose the weight, but now we want firmer arms. We get the promotion, but now we want the corner office. The kids leave, but now we feel empty and purposeless, and the happiness that we promised ourselves never actually arrives. Or if it does, it lasts about 48 hours before the next if then takes its place. So we end up living our entire lives chasing a finish line that keeps moving, and that's exhausting. But here's what I've learned, and what I think many of us are discovering in midlife. Think about the last time we felt truly at peace. Maybe we were sitting in nature somewhere, watching the ocean or the trees swaying in the wind, or watching the sunset, or maybe we were holding our coffee in the morning light, and for just a moment, everything felt enough. What was different in that moment? We weren't trying to change anything. We weren't waiting for anything. We weren't striving or fixing or forcing. We simply accepted the universe exactly as it was. And in that acceptance, joy rose up through us effortlessly. Here's the truth that no one tells us. Our lives right now, with all the problems that we think we have, are already perfect. Not because everything is going well, but because it is what it is. When we stop resisting, when we stop fighting what already exists, we don't have to do anything more to be happy. The joy is already there. We've just been too busy chasing the next thing to actually feel it. Now, this doesn't mean we sit back and do nothing to actually improve our lives. Of course, we still set goals. Of course, we still take action. But here's the shift. We invest in the process, not the outcome. Let me share something counterintuitive. When we detach from the outcome, we're actually more likely to meet our goals. Because here's what we need to understand, that actions are within our control and outcomes are not. Sometimes we reach our goals, sometimes we don't. And sometimes life has other plans. Sometimes the universe says, not yet, or not this way. And we have to make peace with that. So here's what we can do instead. Set the goal clearly and intentionally, then forget about it. Focus entirely on the actions that we need to take to move towards it. Show up, do the work, give it our best shot, and let go of the rest. Because when we're attached to a specific outcome, every setback feels like a failure. Every delay feels like a rejection. Every pivot feels like we're going backwards. But when we're invested in the process, we show up with presence, we stay flexible, we enjoy the journey, and we learn from what doesn't actually work. And most importantly, we don't tie our worth to whether or not we win. As long as we know we gave it our best effort, we can walk away in peace. And that's how we stop being frustrated. That's how we become happier. That's how we reclaim our lives. And there comes a point in life when our why starts to outweigh our how. We're not interested in doing life faster, bigger, louder anymore. We're interested in doing life truer, deeper, and more aligned. And that shift in frequency, that inner knowing, isn't random. It's a maturing of our inner compass. In our 40s and 50s, especially for those of us who are women, our emotional intelligence ripens and we start to instinctively feel what no longer serves us. We begin to sense what lights us up instead of what just keeps us busy. And that change in internal wiring is what gives birth to reinvention. Not frustration, not crisis, not burnout, clear resonance. Our souls are recalibrating and they're doing exactly what they're designed to do. So let's say it clearly. That nagging dissatisfaction we feel isn't a flaw, it's our next chapter emerging. We're not stuck, we're becoming. And this is why so many of us think, I should be happy, but I'm not. Because happiness was never the goal. Joy is. Happiness is a moment. Joy is a state of nourishment. Happiness can be fleeting, but joy transforms our whole system. And once our lives begin to align with joy, everything else starts to shift too. Our energy returns, our clarity sharpens, our purpose becomes unmistakable. This isn't about escaping responsibility. This is about reclaiming alignment. Here's a simple 4-step invitation. First of all, notice what feels good. Pay attention to the moments when you feel energized, curious, or at ease, and do more of that, even in small little doses. You don't need to quit your job or move to Bali. Start with 10 minutes a day. Notice what drains you and eliminate it from your life wherever you can. Set boundaries, delegate, say no. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Build from what energizes you, not from what exhausts you. Let joy inform your next steps. Let it guide your decisions. Joy isn't chaos. Joy isn't irresponsibility. Joy is fuel, not icing. Fuel. And the more fuel we give our souls, the smarter and clearer our next steps become. If you're feeling this pull, this shift, this inner speeding up, you aren't just wandering. You're recalibrating. And that's exactly why I created the Midlife Reinvention Roadmap, which is a guided way to move from confusion and overwhelm into a life that feels alive, purposeful, and yes, joy-fueled. We begin with your personal clarity, not hustle, not strategy, but what your soul actually wants and craves. And then we build from there. It's designed for women who are ready to stop waiting for permission and start living like they mean it. Remember this, our restlessness is not our enemy. It's our first invitation to a life that actually matters. A life that feels rich, connected, and most importantly, alive. Joy isn't an add-on, it's the nutrient our souls have been waiting for, and our next chapter starts the moment we choose what feels real to us. Now, I'd love to hear from you, of course. What resonated most with you? Let me know in the comments below. And if this was helpful, please share it with a friend or any woman or man in your life who needs to hear that they're not broken and that they have the power to thrive in the season of life. For deeper dives into midlife health, healing, and reinvention, head over to my Substack, where I continue these conversations. You'll find the link in the description below as well, along with my free guides, as I said, and resources to support you on this journey. Remember, your peace matters, your truth matters, you matter. This is the Radiant Reset. I'm Beryl, and I'll see you in the next episode.